Sean Payton told me off the air, he said he may be the best guy we have in our league. He's now on Amazon. He's going to make the Hall of Fame. The Rams have missed him dearly. It's Andrew Whitworth, who picked up a broadcasting job. It took me 10 years to get a good job in this industry. You got one in an hour and a half. It's great to see you, Whit. So it was funny. I was watching Philadelphia, and that offense, you know, guys like me, we want fireworks shows. And I thought, man, if I was a lineman, that 13-play drive for the Eagles, is that for you as an offensive lineman? That a 13-play drive to win the game, is that as good as it gets for you?
I think it really is. Your biggest moments are those moments when you get a chance, hey, we can close this game.
Is that what a coach says on the sideline?
Yeah, they come to you. They say, hey, O-line, this is on you. These are the moments you're here for. We can close this game. You go out, do your job. And I think, to me, that line is one of the reasons we say it. Plenty have said it. They're good. They're great. They are literally the reason that team's successful. You see when Lane Johnson goes down, immediately how that game changes a little bit.
The next two series were not the
same. It's a whole
same.
different game. It's like when that group's together and they have all five guys, they're as special as there is in this league up front.
Are there O-lines that are better pass blocking than running? Because I watch Philadelphia's, and I think they're good at both. When Lane's healthy, some lines have specialties. I kind of feel like the Bengals, for instance, did a little better job pass protection. I still don't love their run blocking unit. When you watch the Eagles, do you think that's the best line in the business?
Yeah, I think so, and exactly for what you just said. I think when you watch them, what I think is really unique about the Eagles team is what they're doing with Jalen Hurts, the ability they have to run the football, run these RPOs, these options with him, and then they can also have the receivers and the talent to drop back and throw it if they want to. Well, what makes them capable of doing that? They have a group up front that can move you at the line of scrimmage in the run game, and then, oh, by the way, if you make it a game where we might have to sit back here and throw, we've got one of the best pass protecting units in the NFL as well. So I think that's really, when you look at it defense, it's like, how do we want this team to beat us? Even if we get them behind the chains, it's not like we get after the quarterback because they know how to protect him. They've got some of the best in the business at tackle that can do it. So you don't really see a weakness where you say this is the kind of game we want to make it with this team, because they have the ability up front to beat you in both ways.
So when Brady barks at the offensive line, I've seen him bark at coaches. So I look at it and I just think, this is Tom. I've seen him, Belichick, Josh McDaniels. I've seen him bark at Gronk. And so when you're an offensive lineman and you're sitting there and here comes the quarterback, take me to what it's like.
It's a tough situation. You know, it's like one of those things, you don't always assume you're on camera at a game, but you do sometimes when somebody's screaming at you, a coach, a player, whoever it is. In that moment, I imagine, obviously, it's the GOAT, it's Tom Brady. I think for those guys, they probably just shut up and listen because he's the man. You're not going to see a lot of arguments there. I think there's been some old clips of Saturday and Manning maybe getting in a couple, tiffs on the sideline. But in that situation, you're not playing well, and that guy comes over, you probably sit there and take it. You know what I mean? I mean, obviously, I think there's been a lot of talk just because of Brady's extracurriculars on the weekend, going, to the wedding and then missing the walk through.
How do you think that played with guys? That's tough, Andrew. If you miss the Saturday meeting, he's got a private jet. I'm
going to be honest. It's not it's probably not a fun take to say, but to me, it bothered me. Okay. I mean, it really did.
Okay.
Just for me, I think what Tom's always been known as is the guy. It's like, you will never outwork me. You will never outprepare me. I will outwork anybody in this business. And I think every one of those guys looks up to you that way. I know for me, it's not like after year 16, I had to walk away from the game. I still played at a really high level. But one of the things that made me retire is I got to that point mentally where I was like, you know what? I don't always want to be here.
Sure.
And I don't always want to do this. I know I can go out and play well, but I don't want to ever be a disservice to the guys who look up to me, that this is who I am and how I play the game. So for me, it just bothered me because that's how I look up to Tom Brady. And for it to be, hey, we're going to miss something, that's a pivotal day to get ready and prepare.
So Saturday morning matters.
I mean, if they really had a walkthrough that he missed, I mean, you're hearing that. I mean, normally most teams do. Saturday morning, you have a walkthrough, a final tape preparation, go through the last plays. It matters a bunch because it's our last time together. We go get on a plane, and then the next thing you know, we're playing football. So that's our last moment together on the field together, talking through plays.
Yeah, I want to talk about your Rams because sometimes there are excuses and sometimes there are reasons. Dog ate my homework's an excuse. Mom got into a wreck driving me to school. So the offensive line has fallen apart. You're on a third-string center for the Rams. Now Boom is out for the season. Outside of the right tackle, it's backups. And there's just limitations. And And, by the way, Van Jefferson's out. Brian Allen's an excellent center. But I will say this. I said something a few weeks ago, and I said, they're not using Cam Akers. And I said, I've seen him miss blocks. I hear he's not a great practice player. And you got to be all in with Sean. Because Sean's a player's coach, but you got to be all in. So my takeaway I don't think they can solve some of their issues. They won the ring. I do feel like when I watch the Rams, like when the Niners get healthy, they're going to be really good. I don't know. Is this a lost season for the Rams?
I think it's tough because when you look at the health issues, exactly what you just said, I got 4 kids under 11. I know all the excuses you can make for why you didn't go to homework, get your homework done or miss something. So, but you look at this group, I think when you look up front, I mean, you're talking about you're in your 3rd center, you're on maybe your 4th, 5th guard that you thought was going to be playing in a game. I mean, NFL rosters, this isn't college football. They're not really meant for those kind of things to happen. And that's just a fact. It's not an excuse. It's just some seasons are lost to injury or made really extremely hard. You're going to have that one game at the end of the season where you say, oh, we would have made the playoffs, but back in that streak when we were missing a bunch of guys, we lost some games we shouldn't have. And that's how NFL football is. That's why every year we have a surprise team that makes the playoff and a surprise team that doesn't. And I think for them, it's a lot of issues. It's unfortunate this defense is so good, and you're going to mess up a season where the defense is playing as good as they're playing. But I think for them, they've got to get healthy on the O-line to have any chance.
They need Van Jefferson.
Bad. And they need somebody like Van that can take the top off of defenses and be that deep threat that Matthew Stafford loves.
Okay, and so yesterday, Robinson came back. Here's my question. Would you go get McCaffrey?
I think they need somebody explosive in offense because I think, to your point, we can talk about the injuries up front. We can talk about, hey, we need Van Jefferson, these kind of things. But if you really look at that offense, even if you just put their starting group back out there, you kind of are missing, hey, where's somebody that I just one-hitter quitter? I'm going to hit this guy with the ball in a good situation. He's taking it to the house. Yeah, Cooper Kupp gives you some broken tackles, explosive plays like that.
But they don't have a second one.
But they don't have another guy who does something like that.
Andrew Whitworth, Big Whit, 16 NFL seasons, going to end up in the Hall of Fame, the Walter Payton Man of the Year, 2 Super Bowl appearances, former LSU guy, and as Sean Payton told me off air, maybe the best guy in the league. He's now with Amazon. So I'm watching Kansas City Buffalo, and I felt the Rams and the Niners had this, where you were sitting around with Shanahan and McVay for a couple of years just going, this is as good as football gets. When you're in these big rivalry games, and there's a certain level of, I'm facing the best, not us in the league. Take me to your Niner-Ram games. Take me to these big games against great teams. Does it feel different as a player?
Oh, there's no doubt. The energy that week, even in your coaches, you can feel this game means more. It's like nobody's going to say it. They're even going to keep saying, that's what I always look for. Hey, this game doesn't mean more than the other games. And I'm like, he's just talking to himself when he says that in front of us because that energy and the passion around that game. I mean, I'm not even playing. I saw the promos of Josh Allen not getting the ball back last year in the playoffs, and it's like, I can't wait to watch this. Just that passion and energy and what it means. It's that kind of game. You don't think about games the next year that are coming up that much, but those are the games you actually do. You're thinking about that game for 4 months. You're saying, when I get this opportunity in this big moment, I can't wait for it. 40 million people watching. Von Miller, you faced him at practice. He is that player that is literally better in the biggest games. What makes his skill set so tough for left tackles, right tackles? I think really when you think about Vaughn, it's his ability. If you've ever seen this guy's thighs, I mean, they're bigger than my whole body. He's known as this twitchy, the ghost rush, the duck unders, all these things that he could hit you with, the spins. But what he can actually surprise you with is the power that you'll get out of nowhere, and that's what sets all those moves up. If you watch him in the opener against Joseph Noteboom, he hits him with a surprise bull to start the game and knocks him into the quarterback, and then that started all the moves because now you're starting to brace your feet, and the second you do, he hits that little subtle dip, little subtle jump underneath spin, and you're guessing the rest of the time. I don't want to get knocked back in the quarterback. I don't know which move's coming, and he just does a great job of really understanding leverages and having a plan for how he rushed. I remember Dwight Freeney always talked about setting up his spin move and that feeling leverage throughout the game, and Vaughn does it as good as anybody in the game. Yeah, he's just really special. Everybody's got the guy. In your career, was there a team? Because I think Buffalo's unique. 8 guys up front, and they just rotate them. Did you ever face a team like that where you felt, God, this is the third guy I've seen. They're all good? Yeah, I think Buffalo's really special in that way. I actually last week talked about it. To me, it was one of the biggest factors of this game is that when you really, I think with paying Patrick Mahomes, you can see him defeat teams that might have one good edge rusher because he's so good at figuring out his ways to escape and get out of pockets. But when you start coming from both sides and having success, and you have a guy on each edge that can really win, and now you can start to do the Robert Mathis, Dwight Freeney high-low type rushes where one guy's trying to win low, one guy's trying to win high, and we're really putting the quarterback in a tough position to get out of the pocket. I think with Buffalo's group, and then, oh, by the way, they have interior guys that can win too. I think it's just a rare group to have, and Josh Allen, it's something he hasn't had in the success he's been having recently in the last couple of years. Now, all of a sudden, on the other side of the ball, he's got a defensive line that gets after the other quarterback and puts them in tough situations to come back. I just think this Buffalo team is built to keep winning, and really this is their year to have that moment because you look at these rivalry matchups, the truth is they won this game, but it doesn't matter. I mean, I well know this. San Francisco beat us 6 times in a row, but we won the only game that matters. And so the only thing Buffalo's got to do is remember this game was a good win, but it doesn't mean anything until the end of the year. You can do it in primetime.
When I watch certain teams, Philadelphia, I can see what they're trying to do. That's coaching. I can see, they're trying to suck them in on this. When I watch Green Bay right now, I don't know what they are. And I've said this, I don't know if Aaron's perfectly built. I mean, you're a dad, you're married. It's a life of sacrifice. Walking dogs, cleaning up poop, that's your life. Aaron's a rich, single, never married, no kids. And now he's got a bunch of kids at wide receiver. And it just takes a ton of patience. And so I get where it's like, this kind of a weird fit. Aaron, you're going to have to just keep going back to these guys. And I feel like as brilliant as he is, he may not be built for this unit, right? Like, I watch Green Bay, and when I watch him, my takeaway, Whit, is, what are they?
Yeah, I mean, you even heard him talking about after this game, they need to simplify even more, like more simplification. I think it's tough. I think Aaron spent his offseason chilling out, and a lot have been talk about that and the potion or tea or whatever, and it's like he might need an injection of some energy at this point because that's the other part to what you just said, being a father, right? Like these young guys, they're going to make mistakes, and they're going to get down on themselves. They probably don't need everybody just calm down and relax. They probably need relentless positive energy like, hey, you're okay. Like you got another snap. Fix it on this snap. Go make a great play right here. They probably need lots of energy and positivity to build them up rather than calming down because,
right.
Yeah, he can calm down because he's done it forever.
That's right.
Right? But those guys probably need someone in their ear saying, I know you dropped the ball just through you. You're going to get another one. Just keep your head up and stay in this. And I think that's what he wants the simplification for. It's like, hey, let's stop bothering them with motions and jet sweeps and all these things they got to know where they're supposed to be, how they're supposed to line up. Let's just line them up and let me try and give them confidence by feeding them balls and simplifying the game for them a little bit to where it's just about building their confidence and not what they know about our offense.
So I watched the Jets sideline, and one of the things I love about college football is the energy of it. And it's a long season in the NFL, but I felt like I can sense the Giants' energy. I can sense the Jets' energy. And as an older player, it might feel sappy. But I'm watching the Jets, and I'm like, I'd love to be on that sideline. And there is this thing about some teams are old. Some players are old. Tom's old. Young. Tampa's now an older team. As an older player, do you think it's a little college-y, or have you ever been sucked into this in the league?
I think for me, when Sean McVay and I joined each other in L.A. with the Rams, it was one of the most invigorating parts of my career. This energy, relentless passion that he wanted our team to play with. I'll never forget it because for me, I'd been used to, Marvin Lewis and kind of an old school, hey, we're just going to pound the football and be tough. And that's really the only things we ever talked about. And then all of a sudden I have this guy come in who's just bouncing off the walls, full of energy, full of belief in you. And you're almost like, hey, man, like stop complimenting me so much or stop being so positive, I don't think that much of myself. And to have him come in and be like that, it was like, wow, I got new belief in myself. Right. Even me as a 14-year veteran at that time, So I think that it's something, you look at the new age, the young kids, the differences they have in social media and everything coming up. Right. They're getting a lot of both, and a lot of it is negative. I mean, and that's just the truth. And so they need to hear those things. They need that energy in the building and that belief in them. And I think Robert Saleh does it as good as anybody. I got to be across the sideline from him with the Niners and seeing him and the passion and energy he led that team with, it always impressed me every time just how engaged and how electrifying you just felt his personality was with his guys. And it's like you would see them make a play and run straight for him on the sideline after they made the play. And it's just to see that a player thinks of his coach that way. I was really, really excited when he got this job, and to see it starting to come to fruition is really cool to see.
It is. You can. First year they were really uneven. He's trying to create a culture, and they'd have great halves and terrible halves, and you're like, and then they'd beat Tennessee, and then they'd be bad the next week.
You think about it too, Colin. To that point, Quinnen Williams wanted to get after the quarterback more. Let me just rush. Let us do so many things. You see him even willing to adapt to, hey, my good players, let them do what they want to do and what they're good at. They're rushing forward more now, just letting those big guys up front get after it. Like, to me, it's the passion, the energy, and also the ability to say, what do my players do best? What are they really good at? And what do they feel confident in? I'll give that to them. So to me, it's not just the passion. It's the wisdom of understanding. I'm young in this game, but I know that my players being confident and at their best is all I'm looking for. And if that helps us win, then that's the ultimate goal and the ultimate objective. And he's doing that as well.
Andrew Whitworth, Amazon on Thursdays. Always welcome on our show. Great seeing you as always.
I appreciate it, brother.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.